Welcome back, everyone, to the Family Dynamics Challenge. And welcome to Generation 2 with our new heir, Jumika Brown. So, long story short, where we left off on Generation 1 was with the death of June. And I was planning to do a little filler episode in between generations that would show the family grieving and also celebrating Jomei's wedding to his fiance Greta. And I played through the whole thing, and honestly, my wedding stories is just as broken as everyone says. It was an absolute train wreck, but I forgot to hit record, you guys. So I'm just gonna basically tell you everything that happened. So catching everyone up, after June passed, it kind of really broke the family. He was definitely the glue holding everyone together. Kimiko basically stopped cooking. She kind of drew into herself. She slept all day. She lost not only the love of her life, but also her best friend, her confidant, the father of her children. It was really hard for her. At that time, Kailani, the firstborn child, she had grown up and moved out. She was living in an apartment with her best friend. And, she's always been the really strong, independent child. She's always been kind of a rock for the other children and the parents. When June or Kimiko would have, questions or hey, we're not really feeling confident in our parenting, Kailani would be kind of their reassurance, and she would be, talking them through things. But without June and Kimiko just having a really hard time, Kailani didn't know how to exist without feeling so secure of herself. And her family didn't, since they've never really had to support her so much emotionally, they didn't really know how to, be there for her in the capacity that she needed. So Kailani also withdrew from the family. She stopped visiting every other day. She stopped calling. When they would call her, she wouldn't pick up. They would invite her over. She wouldn't show for Harvest Fest or Winter Fest. She was just kind of absent. Moving on to Jomei and Greta decided to postpone their wedding so the family could, one, have time to grieve, and also just know how to navigate their new family dynamic, I guess, which Greta was very supportive of. She was there for the family. She was there for June in every capacity imaginable, and it really brought them stronger. And Greta, everyone fell in love with Greta in the family. I mean, they loved her before, but this kind of cemented it. Moving on to Jumika, our heir, she really retreated into her basement lifestyle. She kind of rarely leaves just to use the restroom, and she was honestly debating just installing a toilet down here. She got more into gaming. She is still working, but she took some time to work from home for a while, which thankfully she can do as a whatever it is she does, something computer related, I don't know. But one thing Jumika did step in for the family was she noticed her mom was having a hard time, keeping up with the food. And sometimes Greta would bring food over for Jomei, and Kenji could just, eat literal leaves off of trees. So to kind of fill in that food gap, Jumika, took it upon herself to order pizza and order delivery out every so often, just so the family always had some kind of food. And it kind of became a tradition for them now that they order pizza on Sundays, because that's what brought the family together during that time. And that'll play into, some of the conditions of Generation 2. Also with Jumika, she got really close to her girlfriend, Myra. Most of the family hasn't really interacted with Myra. They've just seen her, stop by a couple times. They didn't know the relationship was so serious, but Myra was really there for Jumika and could kind of understand her a bit more. And in a emotional, frantic, spur of the moment night out, they actually got engaged. And Jumika was a little nervous to tell her family just because none of them really know Myra that well, and Jumika, thinking about it, she also doesn't know Myra that well, and that'll also make things awkward in Generation 2 once I go down the requirements. But our little girl, Generation 2 Heir, is engaged to her first love, Myra, and that is that. And then we have Kenji, our youngest son. Out of everyone in the family, he's probably been the most level-headed. Oh, there's Myra. He's been the most girl, she just changed the channel when Myra, you know what? Kenji is like, I can't even take this. I'm going on a jog. Myra, leave him alone. Okay, we'll talk about Myra later. Anyways, as I was saying, Kenji has been the most mentally stable throughout this grieving process. He took up a liking to fitness, and that was something he really enjoyed doing with June. So he's just been working out and kind of reminiscing about his father and feeling connected through him, just from working out and jogging and remembering all the fun training sessions they had. Kenji, if you don't remember, also had a girlfriend, a childhood sweetheart from high school. None of the other kids had quite the game that Kenji did so young. It's a little too young for them, and Kenji knows that, but they did exchange promise rings. But for right now, you know, Kenji's just happy, moving slow with their relationship, and he's got a little starter job since he graduated high school. And he's just, you know, happy to help out with his family. Let's talk about Jomei's wedding. And then I promise we'll get into Generation 2. You know, the first episode of any season, any generation is going to be long just because there's so much backstory. So just bear with me. So Jomei and Greta's wedding, they decided to have a destination wedding. You know, since Kimiko and June had to work so hard, there wasn't really time or money to take a lot of vacations, and it's somewhere that June always wanted to go. So since he couldn't be there in life, they decided to celebrate by living out one of his dreams, and that was visiting Terratosa, which is a destination that was included in my wedding stories. So the wedding party included everyone in the family: Kimiko, Kailani, Jumika, Kenji, and then also their partners. So of course, Greta, the bride, was there. Kenji's girlfriend, Tomi, was there. And Jumika's surprise fiance, to literally everyone's surprise, Myra. So when Jumika and Myra landed and entered the vacation rental, everyone was like, oh, Myra's here. We knew she was your friend, but we didn't know she was a +1 level type of friend. So Jomei stepped in and was like, oh, yeah, Myra's invited because she is Jumika's girlfriend. And then Myra was like, no, we're engaged. And it was kind of like you could hear a pin drop in the living room. I mean, Kenji burped, but aside from Kenji being himself, everyone was silent, dead silent. And they were just like, how long have you guys been dating? And Jumika could kind of sense the tension, but Myra, you know, completely oblivious. She was like, oh, a couple weeks. We're so in love. Kailani, she's, you know, the protector of all of her younger siblings. She immediately was like, I don't trust this Myra girl. And she was kind of very standoffish towards Myra. They went out for a day at the beach, and this was totally not even controlled by me. Like, these Sims did it on their own. They literally ignored Myra. They were all like swimming in the beach together, splashing, chatting, and they just let Myra be by herself. Like, I'm not even making this up. Like, I couldn't even write a story this dramatic. They were literally like leaving Myra on the sidelines. They just did not trust her. Even Kenji, who's kind of like the lovable himbo of the family, but even he was like, there's something not quite compatible with Myra. So they're kind of on the fence with this girl. But Jumika's had it really hard these last few months, and Myra's the only one who has managed to get her out of the basement. So For now, the family is going along with it, but they honestly aren't a fan. Oh, Myra is like, excuse me, I'm going out on the town. So I'm gonna introduce Myra and then we'll get into it. She is kind of a party animal, which is one of the things that set off Kailani's radar when she first met Myra, because that's completely the opposite of Jumika. She kind of just wants to be the life of the party. She wants to be the perfect host. She wants to know lots of people and have lots of people in her life. She was unemployed when they met, but Kenji managed to get her a job in the athletic career path. She's just kind of the water person. She doesn't really care about it, but honestly, Kenji doesn't either, so it's not like he can judge. If we look at Myra's relationship to Jumika, I mean, Myra does feel strong, deeply connected to Jumika. They are really good friends, best friends. They're engaged, but you can kind of see Jumika's relationships towards Myra are a lot more... Well, Myra is about halfway deeply connected, while Jumika is full in. She's like 100%. She's deeply connected. She's adoring towards Myra. She feels like they're growing closer from quality time together, whereas Myra just doesn't have that towards Jumika. So, and her family can see that. Jumika kind of is looking at their relationship through rose-colored glasses, but her family's like, hey, this feels a little one-sided. We feel like you're giving more than you're getting. So Myra is someone who likes to go out. So while we're waiting for Jumika to get off work, and she's just kind of, chatting, getting to know people, I'm going to go over the requirements for Generation 2. Generation 2 is called Why Ever Leave? You were raised to believe that home is where the heart is. And because of this, you rarely venture into the outside world unless given a really good reason to do so. You choose not to leave your parents' home to pursue your own path at the same time that a lot of others do. Video games and programming become your passion while holed up in your basement bedroom. And thankfully, your career of choice doesn't require a lot of socialization. Leftover pizza, anyone? Ooh, Jumika's home. Anyways, so the traits required for this generation are... She needs to have the lazy, slob, and geek traits. So, slob, lazy, geek, gotcha. Her aspiration is also to be a computer whiz, which, oh my god, wow. She's already mastered her aspiration, okay. And her career is to be a tech guru. She is currently level 9 out of 10. Wow. So our girls got quite the start on life. So the rules for Generation 2 are Jumika needs to win a GeekCon competition while cosplaying. She's never been to a GeekCon competition, and honestly, she hasn't left the house in so long. She's a little nervous too. She also needs to meet her spouse, her forever spouse anyway, at GeekCon. So you can see why her being engaged to Myra is a little messy for this generation's requirements, because her forever spouse is going to be someone at GeekCon. Jumika also needs to master the programming and video game skills. She's currently at programming, she's at level 9, and video games, she's at level 8. So she's pretty high on that, but that's just because we played a really long time in Generation 1. She also needs to play the guitar as a hobby, not necessarily a skill requirement set to that. As you can see, she has moved her guitar to her basement bedroom because it was just something that her and Jomei did together that really is close to her heart, and Jumika loves her family more than anything, so anything that can remind her of her family, she keeps close to her heart. So she still loves playing guitar even though she's not the best. Another requirement, Kailani is still down here just surfing the web as her sister and her sister's fiance are like sleeping. It's not weird at all. Another requirement, Jumika needs to order pizza for dinner at least one night per week. And just kind of as an homage to family traditions, she will be doing that every Sunday. And Jumika cannot move out of her childhood home until her parents have died. June has unfortunately already passed away, and I mean, Kimiko, she's getting up there. Honestly, it could be any day now. Losing Kimiko is going to be crushing to her. But yeah, Kenji will probably never move out. You know, he literally has bubble baths every night. Like, Kenji, I cannot picture him growing up. And I don't want him to. He's our baby. So with that, we are going to officially start Generation 2 of the Family Dynamics Challenge. This episode, I think we'll just kind of dip more into Myra and Jumika's relationships, New Year's Eve, and we're just going to have a nice day in. Wow. Myra is tense because she absolutely hates the decor in the house. Yikes. Maybe that's why she wants to leave so much. Oh no. Oh no, Kimiko is dying. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Who has a better relationship with her? Since it is Jumika's generation, I'm going to make Jumika plead for her mother's life. Oh, not on New Year's Eve. Jumika's like, please, this is the only family I know. Please just give her one more night. That looks like a no. Oh, shoot. Wow, this is real sad. No, the Sims 4 is so cringy. Like, do you see this? And the Grim Reaper's like, oh, you know, I'll wait until the countdown. This is so weird. Oh, 10 minutes early. Really? So everyone can just cry? Wow. Okay, it's kind of sad that they cared more about June dying than Kimiko. Kenji, why are you speaking with the enemy? This is one way to start off Generation 2 by just offing Generation 1. Well, now she can move out, I guess. But I don't think she will. Why has Kenji befriended the Grim Reaper? Yo, this is wild. See, no one can dislike Kenji, so that makes it even more suspect that Myra does. And Myra's really sad. Interesting. Her kids are fine with it, which is concerning and honestly kind of rude. We're gonna pretend like they aren't, though, just for the sake of the story. So Myra likes to go out every morning and meet new people and whatnot, and she's kind of taking an eye at the festivals coming up, and she noticed that GeekCon is conveniently coming up, something that Jumika would be interested in, and she's like, hey, I think I should bring this up. But before finding out more information, she's like, oh, hello, new person I haven't met yet. How are you? Oh, wow, they're getting along kind of well. Myra's like, I better go home before this gets any deeper. Jomei and his, pregnant wife, Greta, invited Jumika out just to talk about their mother. Jomei's really torn up about it, and he's like, I don't know how you are even standing up right now. And Jumika's like, what do you mean? You just bottle it real deep down inside, and that is how you can keep going. Jumika's like, oh my gosh, Greta, congratulations on your wedding, on your marriage, on the new baby. When's the due date? Greta's like, oh, it's coming up faster than you would expect. What about you and Myra? And Jumika's like, well, after Kimiko, mom died, I haven't even really thought anything about getting married. It's not really on my mind. She's like, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. Greta's like, yeah, you know, that's normal for you to express doubts. It's all really happening kind of fast. Oh, Jumika did not like hearing that. She didn't like hearing that. And Jomei's like, hey, like, I know Greta comes off abrasive, but I kind of agree with her. You know, mom just died. You know, you're still processing dad dying. I think you're moving a little fast here. Jumika's like, wow, you've been talking to Kailani about this. You guys are all saying the same thing, but out of my relationship. And, maybe focus on your baby, like get your own life. Like, not gonna lie, it is kind of rude to constantly bash someone's relationship like all of her siblings are doing. But also, I mean, if your siblings are all kind of picking up the same vibe, maybe it's a sign to, maybe take off your rose-colored glasses. Jomei is calling Kenji and he's like, hey, I just got into a fight with Jumika when we were out. I really got to explain some things to you. Please be open-minded, hear my side, and I'm going to need you to check on our sister. And Kenji's like, yeah, bro, what's up? Like, what do you want to talk about? Jomei is giving Kenji the rundown of what they talked about when they went out. And Kenji's like, wait, hold on, Holiday. What do you mean Greta's pregnant? Like, he's totally missing, like, the whole point of this conversation. Well, it's Sunday. That means it's time to order pizza. Jomei and Kenji are outside talking. I wonder about what. Jumika's like, wow, they're talking about me and my relationship again. How expected. Like, they can't talk about anything else. She is going to confront them. Oh, pizza's here. All right, guys, gather around for pizza. Jumika's like, oh, I haven't seen you all day. Myra, explains how she's been out on the town, meeting new people. She feels like her social satisfaction has kind of improved. She's a lot happier. And Myra's like, oh, I saw something today when I was in the town center. Have you heard of GeekCon? I think you'd really like it. It's like where a bunch of geeks play video games, I guess. And Jumika's like, oh, that sounds nice, but it sounds like there's a lot of people. Myra's like, yeah, it sounds like a ball. It sounds like a ton of people. And Jumika's like, that's not really a positive for me. And Kenji's like, really? I think it'd be fun. You can play video games and stuff. Jumika's a little on the fence just because she hasn't been out in so long. But she's like, okay, if you want to go. Myra's like, no, if you want to go, I'll go with you. Jumika's like, okay, let me just perfect my game playing a little bit, and then I'll try it out. And they're like, okay, deal. And I think that's where we'll stop for this episode. It was more of an intro into what Generation 2 will entail, more so than like actually doing anything. But I think the story part is set up pretty well, and I'm excited to actually get into the meat of this story and seeing how Jumika and the Brown family, continue to grow. Thanks for watching. So excited that you guys are joining me again for another season of the Family Dynamics Challenge. So let me know your thoughts. Obviously, eventually, Myra and Jumika are going to break up. Tell me in the comments your predictions on how you see their relationship playing out. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, privacy. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.